Greetings! Welcome to the devlog for Alpha 1 of Update 114 of Hot Dogs, Horseshoes, and Hand Grenades. We're going to start off as always with a quick sound check. Make sure your speakers aren't up too high. Oh no! Flubbed it on the last one. Not wonderful. There we go. So what have we got for you this week? Well, alpha means we are done with primary feature development for this alpha cycle, and now it's just on to sort of bug fixing and testing. It's why we push up from experimental to alpha, give mod authors a sort of a clean template to build on in terms of new features and such. But we've got a whole bunch of new toys to go over. I'm going to put down our trusty 1911 here because we need something with rails. I don't need you. Wow, that survived that. Anyway, so let's get ourselves a testing carbine, something with a rail and an attachable, adjustable stock, because we have got a whole bunch of night vision and thermal stuff to play with. So the testing scopes that were in the game, those are gone. We don't need them anymore because we have got a whole bunch of new toys. So let's take a look at the thermals first in this scene, and then we'll take a look at the night vision ones in a darker scene. So we have got a selection of thermal scopes for you. We have the Hunt 35 here. We have where are you? SKT IR here, and a T12. So let's look at these in order of awesome to slightly less awesome. So here is the Hunt 35. You can see it is pretty significant in size. Let's go ahead and we're going to grab our SOSIG spawner here just so that we can see. We have some bright things to actually shoot at and see in thermal vision. So let's just take a look at what this looks like by default through here. This one has a white hot default profile. I don't remember what the resolution on this one is. I'm going to pull my eye a little bit closer to it. Yeah, just so we can see the whole view there, even though I'm clipping into it a little bit. But this is a fairly high resolution, fairly high refresh one. We've got a little bit of blur. And these now have a bunch of extra options. So the options vary based upon which one you're using. This one has options for different colored reticles. So you can have a red reticle there. We have our reticle types. We can sequence through a bunch of different crosshair types for this one, as well as having none. You can set them to none in case you want to actually have like a scope looking through it and really zoom in, which we'll do that in a little bit. And then your thermal color map. This defaults to white hot, but most of these have some variation of option. Here's our amber one. That looks so cool. Arctic. You've seen these before. But yeah, so we've got a selection of those. And some of these end up actually having digital zoom to them as well. So this defaults to 1x, but we can actually zoom up. Note that digital zoom is different from optical zoom in that this device has a simulated, limited sensor resolution. So even though the screen size resolution is going to remain the same on this, if we go all the way up to 8x on this, you will actually begin to see the pixels there because we are zooming up on a limited resolution sensor, which I just think is the coolest thing. Any kind of simulated limitation of a real life piece of hardware just is the coolest thing to me. So yeah, so that is in there. That's our Hunt 35. We have the SKT IR. This is a more compact one. It's more limited in certain ways, but I think this is the higher refresh rate of the two. Might be lower. I can't remember. One of them is 30 and one is 50. I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, so this one is better close up like this, and let's see here. Yeah, we can turn off the crosshair if we want. This one, because of actually has an edge detect option as one of its color maps. Isn't that so cool? I love that form of thermal. So that's in there. And similarly, we've got some digital zoom. This actually has 0.5x digital zoom, which I'm not 100% sure what the purpose of that is, but it's in there. 2x digital zoom, so cool. Just the little imperfections and such. A little bit of chromatic aberration from the lens. Love it. So yeah, and you can, of course, zero those to adjust if necessary. Now, this is H3, which means we put something awesome in, we put something not awesome in. And let me show you the latest in that second category. This is the T12. This thing's tiny. And if you're like, man, thermals are pretty big. I mean, if you look at this and you're like, well, this is like, I don't know, $13,000 or something like that. And then this is, well, was, when it was for sale, like $500. What do you get for $500? The answer is not much. We're going to pull this in much closer so that we can see. This has an 80 by 60 pixel sensor on it. It is 9 hertz. It is 9 hertz. It is, I mean, you could still use this. I love pulling it literally like right up to the eye like that. Ooh, and we can see something cool. If we pull it right up to the eye, you'll see something special. I just got this working last night with a whole bunch of truly grueling shader debugging. We can actually see the LCD subpixels, or the LED, whichever it is, subpixels on the screen when you get your eye close enough to it. Just incredible. I love this silly little thing. Now, if you're asking, can you can theoretically put like a scope going into this? It's not going to work very well because this has no parallax to it. This is literally just like a display on here. But this is officially the new funniest way to do a take and hold run. I didn't even hit him with one of those. But yeah, so that's the T12. Just beautiful little piece. This is not the only new thermal toy. If we go on over into toys and tools and go under utility, there is a handheld thermal camera as well that we can see here that also has a selection. So we can pick our various color profiles for it, and it has digital zoom. So if you want, this is also 9 hertz refresh. It's like, this is interesting in that it's as high resolution as something like this, but it is 9 hertz. I think the real world analog, they sell a low and a high frame rate version of it. I think because actually getting the like accretion over time is actually useful in certain contexts, but this is just like peak horror game. Especially once I end up fixing the lighting and such and updating the meat grinder scene so that things get seen correctly in it. I think that'll just be a delight of a tool. Oh, goodness. What else? Some of you may have seen the funny meme that I memed off of. There was someone with, it was a creator with a... showing a G17 with a light switch on the back of it, and I decided to respond by making my own version of it, which I decided to give the lower a white color to go with the light switch this morning. But there you have it. This is this is semi-automatic by default, but if we flip the light switch on the back, fully automatic. Just thank you. I haven't added something truly stupid in a while, weapon-wise, and it seemed a moment for it. Wonderful. I think a real life full out. I think it's funny because this wasn't designed to be fully automatic. I realized the actual like G18 is way faster in its cyclic rate because I've fired one of those. Let's see here. Yeah, that's how actually fast a full auto one. But I don't mind, given that this has a light switch on the back of it. Maybe there's a voltage limitation or something. But I find that cyclic rate enjoyable, so it's gonna stay there. Cool, let's jump on over to a dark scene and check out the night vision stuff, including a new gun. So here we are in the spookiest of 45s, and let's go ahead and jump right in. This is our first historical piece of night vision that is in the game. If we go on over to carbines, where are you? There we go, M3 carbine, right from the thumbnail of the video. For those of you who don't know, this was, I believe these were put together in 1945 and used in the Pacific. In real life, this would also be accompanied by an enormous, heavy, and dangerous battery backpack full of sulfuric acid. This is your basically your first ever like Generation 0 night vision system. These had no integrated gain, which means on its own, this can't see anything. It is only works when paired with, as you can see here, this absolutely enormous IR illuminator. Let's go ahead and load her up, move away from the item spawner, and grab our 4 here, and look through this, and there we go. This is our pretty terrible. It's heavily distorted. It's fairly dim. This is, as best as we can tell from documentation and reference video, what you could see out of this Generation 0 night vision with IR illuminator. Its effective range is only about 50 or 60 meters. So we can see that. That's so sick. Over there. Can you just imagine crawling through a jungle that's this dark, and the only thing that helps you see is this wired up to a bunch of sulfuric acid in a battery? This thing that you can barely see. I don't even know how. I can't even reload this in the dark. I have to come back over here. I can't even imagine. But if you want to really see the gradient in H3 of like where night vision began to where it's come, like look at how dark even the sky is, because as I said, there's no gain on this. But yeah, so that's there. Other things of import night vision wise, these no longer require a button click to affix. You just bring them to the top of your head like that. It didn't instantaneously attach. These have a 4-second cooldown time after being spawned, so that when you pull them off your face, they don't automatically reattach. So it'll take 4 seconds, and then on sheer proximity, this will attach going to my face. So that is in there. The other thing, we actually have 2 weapon mount night vision scopes. So let's pull ourselves out something to slap them on. You're as good as anything else. These are interesting in that really both of these are designed to be paired with something else. So if we grab we can do this 2 different ways. We can grab, like, say, a prism scope like this and put that up front. Did I put this on backwards? What is going on? It's dark, so I can't. I literally am like, am I... Either that or something with the scope system is broken. Well, that's not good. I'm not getting... Oh wait, this doesn't have an illuminated reticle. This is a prism scope. I have to actually turn on the illumination. Wow, Anton. Wow. I'm just going to keep that in the video so you can see just how much of an idiot I am operating my own game. So then we can put we have a PVS 14 here, scope mount. And we actually want to give this a little bit of illumination. Okay, it's not quite height aligned for this, so we're going to want to grab a rail adapter. Let's try a short riser first. Put that right up there. There we go. So now we've got decent night vision looking into a prism scope. And we've got some cool new options for the night vision as well. So let's pull those up. So first off is night vision profile. Some of these different, items in game have had different sorts of internal parameters. So you can have this one set to either a Gen 3 Omni 5 or a Gen 2 Plus. They have different gain-noise relationships. Some of them are better for if you're going to be using them in brighter conditions than others. And each one has colors associated with it. So there is now a list of... So this one here can be P43 green. That doesn't look right. Looks like the names are wrong. Yeah, the names are offset here. That's weird. Because that's our red one. That's our modern green. And that's our amber. So I'll have to see. I must have an array index wrong on this. Wouldn't be a devlog without a bug. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's interesting. Now I'm switching these back and it's... That should be setting it to the 0th element of the color, but it's not. Man, something is very broken. Probably just erroring. And then the other thing that we have, night vision-wise, let's take off the prism, is let's say you want to do some distance shooting. Let's go back to scopes and magnifiers. We have a PVS 30, which is enormous. Absolutely enormous. Just look at that thing. And what do we want to put into this? We can just start with a an LPVO maybe. Yeah, there we go. Gonna have to actually put this way forward because each of these things are quite long. Beautiful. So there's our LPVO. Looking through that, and if we increase our magnification all the way, there we go. So you've got night vision going out. I believe this is like 10x. Obviously, this one is a little sensitive in terms of eye relief. Let's see. Ah, there we go. There's our distant ones. Bam! Got him. Shoot the gong. Wonderful. Perfect. So there you have it. There is our added night vision scopes and our new toys. Also fixed the tag that determines that this scene is low light, so we finally actually have our muzzle flash illuminating it. Sorry that it took me so long to fix that. So yeah, so I think that's about it. Let's jump out of VR. There's a whole bunch of other stuff on the changelog that is important that I want to go over. Yo! So, out of VR, what else do we got here? What else is important? So, there were a whole bunch of sort of like back-end features and advancements to the night vision system as a whole this week, beyond just that, like the you saw the thermal subpixel stuff that was added. There's some stuff related to like certain night vision devices relative to others had some resolution limitations compared to more advanced ones. That is now actually properly simulated, so some of the earlier ones are just overall just blurrier compared to newer units. In might have the award for single futziest piece of simulation possibly in the game. Ole decided to do a whole bunch of research on the differences of the specific photo cathodes that are in the various generations of night vision and like their relative sensitivities to different frequencies of light. And so a simulation of those is in. So when you're switching between a Gen 0, 1, 2, 2 plus, 3, etc., night vision, it is actually interpreting the RGB color that you're looking at differently based on on photocathode parameters to approximate the spectral response. Which that sort of futziness, I just that's what VR, that's what making goofy sim games is all about. So yeah, and now as I was showing you, albeit the feature's kind of broken and I got to figure out why, but basically each night vision definition defines which of the photocathode not photo, each of the phosphor color types available to it. I'll have to figure out why that was breaking the way it was. Anyway, so beyond that, other big changes, I rebuilt a whole bunch of the SOSIG enemy template metadata pieces that are used by Take and Hold and other things to basically just like actually include a whole bunch of the SOSA guns that I have added over the course of this long alpha cycle. So those will actually show up where appropriate. I updated a whole bunch of things related to like the Take and Hold wrist menus and things, as well as some of the like locomotion pop-up menu things so that they're not blindingly bright under night vision, and so they don't affect your auto gain. The scope attachment object tables in Take and Hold currently now contain night vision scopes. I'm going to eventually spin those out as their own incidence table, because you don't always want a night vision or a thermal scope when you just want a regular magnified scope. But for now, I just added them into that table because that was the fastest thing to do. And so they'll show up in that context. What else? Correct display names. I restored the violet and amber colored lasers to laser attachment 1 through 5 for those of you who missed those. Made it so that a bunch of components in the proving ground scene are seen correctly through thermal vision. That's all the night vision stuff. Oh, and then as I said, with the head attachment stuff, you can have one attachment to the head at once now instead of just accidentally glomming a whole bunch of them on. Part of the reason for this is performance. When you attach a head affixment in H3, it directly becomes part of the player hierarchy. This has a truly non-trivial performance overhead cost to it, especially if it's a complex object. And so for that reason, you can only have one thing affixed via that channel. It is very much hard-coded in. And it just allows, I'm going to have some features later on, like in Contract Griller, for example, it's going to serialize and deserialize what is on your head, so it will look specifically at that parameter. So I'm just building infrastructure for the future for things. Yeah, and that's the old-timey spectacles that are one of the unlock rewards from Worst World now work again because they have been re-implemented using the head attachment system. So if you have unlocked those spectacles in the past from completing Worst World, you should be able to now apply them to your head and be wearing some sunshades. So... And then just a couple miscellaneous things. I removed all of the testing scopes. API notes. This is like primarily directed at modder folk. But there's still there's some bugs in the laser light system, so don't script extend that at all yet. And please don't touch anything related to the cartridge box system because there are still some like major structural changes I want to make to that in the next week. Basically just to like cover a lot of like common requests, like being able to get ammo boxes in different sizes instead of just having one size per ammo. But I have to like reconsider how I've coded a bunch of that to make that a possibility. So, so that just about does it for this alpha. Remember, this is now on the it's on the alpha and experimental branch. Remember, modders haven't had any time to work on top of this, so if you're running with your 18 billion mods and stuff and you've been on the alpha branch and it updates today and you're like, oh my gosh, my stuff is broken, just run the game vanilla and give modder, don't complain to me, Don't complain to modders. They know they have stuff to do and they'll get to it when they want to get to it. And so please be polite to everyone involved, and otherwise continue to run on the main branch until all of that stuff is done. So I think that just about does it for this week. I hope you all have fun sneaking around in the dark, being spooky wieners. And I will see all you beautiful folk next week. Peace.